This is Chris K with a simple series of corrections for your upper extremity standing tests. All right, so we're going to start today with the shoulder mobility, the push-up. All right, what I'm going to do is show you a simple sequence of exercises we're going to perform to acquire some mobility and then reinforce that with some strength and stability. All right, the key is that the first thing we want to emphasize here is that we are not physical therapists. We're not treating or diagnosing anything. We're simply giving our clients some simple stretches and mobility techniques to help them be more successful in their exercises. The other thing that I will say is that more important than what we add into the program is what we take away. Okay, and with this, the exercises that we're going to avoid are any overhead pressing or any heavy pressing movements. All right, until we've cleaned these things up, I'm not comfortable giving the clients these things. They're at an increased risk of injury, and this has to be understood. Okay, with that said, really the first thing that we want to do is look at the areas that we want to mobilize for these particular tests. All right, we've sort of isolated the upper extremity here, and with this, the first thing that we're going to ask the client to do is to foam roll. I'm holding a foam roller here. Their armpits. We're going to look at their upper back. We're going to get the front and the back of their shoulder with the ball, and really what I would do is refer them to our upper extremity foam rolling drills. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on that because we want to look at some stretches, some things that we can give them at home. But the first thing that the client wants to do is to foam roll to help to work these things out. Even better if you can get them to go see a massage therapist for a session or two. We're going to make a lot quicker change. The foam roller will just kind of act as a supplement to that. But the more your client really does this, spending about 1 to 2 minutes on each area on a daily basis, the more successful they're going to be. All right, so really after we foam roll, the next couple things that we're going to do is our doorway stretching series here. And I say doorway, we do this here at the gym with the bands, but oftentimes the client's not going to have access to that. So with the doorway, the first thing we're going to start out with is just an overhead flexion stretch here. With this, what I'm going to do is just back up until I feel a pronounced stretch here in my upper back. I'm just kind of shifting around to get some mobility, and I'm spending around 1 to 2 minutes in this area. Okay, and that's the same thing we're going to ask the client to do. If we find there's an issue on a particular side, we're going to give them this for, you say, maybe do double the volume on one side versus the other, but generally a good recommendation would be 1 to 2 minutes on each side. All right, from here we also have the crossed arm stretch, okay, where they just would hold on to a door handle and just twist away like this. The client's going to feel kind of a pull in their upper back. They're going to feel just some stretching along here in the back of the shoulder, and that's a good thing. All right, so we're holding in this position, just kind of holding here for 1 to 2 minutes. For the last movement here, what we're going to do is ask the client to put their hand behind their back. Okay, they're holding the doorway this way, and what we're going to do is just twist away in this fashion. Now what this is doing is this is pulling me into internal rotation. Okay, I'm feeling a nice stretch here in my shoulder. And again, I just want to hold this for 1 to 2 minutes. You can also do this as a mobility drill where we actively move in and out of the range of motion. Just make sure that you can also tie the neck in by just kind of looking down and away and just twisting in and out. Just make sure that once again the client is not feeling discomfort. If you feel any pinching or anything like that in there, they definitely need to stop immediately. And maybe consult some other things. All right. The other thing that we can do here, okay, on the floor is called a sleeper stretch. Right. With the sleeper stretch, what I'm going to do is just come down onto my side, come into this position, and just press down. All right. This is one that I would give the client as an alternative to that crossed arm, the hand behind the back stretch on the wall there, if that gave them any issues. But once again, it's a little more gentle. Just light pressure here on the hand. Just make sure that the shoulder blade stays down and back. I don't want to see any shrugging. Client can also put their head on something as well. Sometimes like the foam roller helps. So that's a good thing. But again, you just want to hold that for 1 to 2 minutes. Now, once we've looked at stretching, we've gained some mobility there. Okay, we want to move into our stability drills. All right. Actually, no. We want to move into our mobility drills. Okay. With mobility, we've kind of built some static flexibility. Now we want to move the muscle through the range of motion. Okay. So number one is we want to look at an exercise called arm sweeps here. Okay. With the arm sweep, I'm just going to ask the client to lie their back. Okay. They're going to place one hand here on the ground. Abs are tight. I'm pressing my back into the ground. And I'm just sweeping my arm up and over, just to the point to where I can keep my shoulder on the ground, keep some nice space between my shoulder and my ear, and I'm coming back down. All right, ideally the client will be able to get all the way overhead, but initially they're going to be very limited. So this is one we want to do. Just try to get a little bit more range of motion with each one. Keep the back pressed into the floor. And again, this is just a very, very gentle movement. Hand opens up. As I come to the midline, I'm coming right down. My hand comes down, facing the ground. So we're moving through internal, external rotation there. From here, we can move on to a floor slide. Okay, with a floor slide, this is for overhead flexion. This is kind of helping the client get their arms overhead. So I'm going to press the back into the ground. Just going to press my arms over my head. Again, I'm not fighting gravity here. I'm going to feel a nice stretch, and I'm coming down. And again, these are just complementing the stretches that we just worked on. Pausing at the top, coming back down. Pausing at the top, coming back down. Just like that, all right? Ask the client to maybe keep the back pressed on the ground. Take a deep breath at the top, hold, and just move very slow and controlled. Okay, now from here, we're also going to work on mobility of the upper back. Okay, and when I say mobility of the upper back, okay, we have mobility of the shoulders, but we also have, we want to keep the upper back in extension. We want to make sure that we undo this desk posture, and we also want to be able to rotate from the upper back versus the lower back. Okay, the upper back is built to do that. All right, so 2 drills to help the client with this so they can do it at home or, insert it into their sessions. One would be what is called a bird dog rotate. All right, with this, I'm going to place one hand on my head.